good afternoon or good morning or good evening, depends on your location, to all of you. I want to take a few minutes to say you a little bit more about the IEEE Smart Cities technical community, and also I want just to tease some discussion for the panel after about the question: are smart cities inclusive and affordable? Okay, what is IEEE Smart Cities technical community? You can see here our mission and vision statement, and of course I will invite all of you to join the technical community. It's for free. You just have to scan the QR code and register. Well, the mission statement of IEEE Smart Cities is to foster technological innovation and excellence in smart city technologies and systems for the benefit of humanity, and to help each member to improve their professional skills. To do that, we have a vision, and our vision is to be a leading professional organization that engages stakeholders in the development of sustainable, resilient, equitable, and privacy-respecting smart city technology and systems that address diverse community needs. The volunteers and expert-led IEEE Smart Cities technical community achieves its vision as a cross-disciplinary program for research and development, and by the creation of technological standards and professional education materials. And I forgot to say that once I finished my mandate as IAS president, I took the lead of IEEE Smart Cities technical community as chair. Just some of our actions. You can learn more if you visit our webpage. You can see that we have a couple of thousands, more than a couple of thousand, more than 4,000 members, and many people following smart cities social media and web page. What you can find inside the smart cities, many things, but among them you can have access, if you register as member, to our resource center with different materials about education, webinars, and other interesting things about smart cities. Please feel free to join us. Okay, let's now go to the central part of my my presentation here. First of all, we speak a lot about smart cities, or in general about smart systems of any type, but it is very legitimate to ask, what is a smart city? In fact, I tried to find a good definition for smart cities. I found several. To be honest, I asked also the question to ChatGPT. I asked twice in 5 minutes period, and I found 2 different responses. Finally, I took all those answers, including ChatGPT, and I coined my own definition for smart cities, and this is that we promote today in our technical community. A smart city is a city which is a complex and cross-discipline object that brings together cutting-edge technology and human societies. This duality between technology and humans is very important in the definition of any smart system. The city leverages technology and data to improve the quality and of life for its citizens, enhance sustainability, and streamline urban services. This typically involves the use of information and communication technologies to manage the city's asset and infrastructure, collect and analyze data, and engage with citizens in real time. Here you have a very important keywords. We speak about information and communication technology. We speak about data. We speak about data, privacy. We speak about real life and real-time interaction between the city services, and the citizens. And finally, the ultimate target of a smart city is to create an environment that is efficient, safe, resilient, inclusive, and responsive to the needs of its residents and affordable for all. Well, this is last paragraph is the starting point for my question. Do we able today to really create a smart city or an embryo of smart city that is inclusive and affordable? And this is the first question. Is a smart city inclusive? And why we said that smart city shall be inclusive? In fact, all smart cities are not inclusive, but they can be considered as inclusive when the technology and data-driven solutions that incorporate in the city are used to enhance the quality of life for all its residents, ensuring that the benefit of smart initiatives are accessible to everyone, regardless of their background, abilities, or socioeconomic status. This is, in fact, something that is absolutely doable in the frame of smart cities. And to be honest, this is something that to be an objective for any kind of city, not only for smart cities. The difference between a standard city and smart city is that we can use new technologies in order to do this job as best as possible. How a smart city can ensure diversity and inclusion. And I put here a few examples. I will not read all of them, but it's just to start the discussion after. The first thing is within a smart city, we have to offer equal access to the service. And this, of course, can be done using apps, using different technologies, different systems, allowing citizens to interact with the governance of the city, of the city services. But don't forget here to use an app. You are assumed, first of all, to have a mobile phone or a tablet or a computer. And this is not the case always today. Then a smart city has to offer environmental justice. That means we have to make the city and the city technologies as affordable as possible in order to avoid, to penalize a little bit more disadvantaged people and people with low incomes. Of course, smart cities has to help us in order to enhance education and lifelong learning, passing through webinars, seminars, different things we can imagine today, and we develop a lot since the last pandemic period. Smart city also has to take care about cultural preservation. This is something very important, because if we want to open the city to the diversity, we have to understand and accept the difference at cultural level. Of course, smart city systems can help to open job opportunities and also enhance economic inclusion. They can help also to public safety and security. I want here just to give you an example. I'm more interested about lighting systems, and we know very well today that in a city that is not well lit, people, they have some insecurity feeling inside the city, and we know that this insecurity feeling touches a little bit more women's than men's. If we are able to produce the right light at any moment, at any place inside the city, then we can, how to say, overcome some barriers of this kind. And what is last here, last but not least, we need also to plan the infrastructure of the city in order to be inclusive, in order to be easy to use by any kind of citizen, whatever is his level of education or numerical literacy. You understand that we have a very nice tool in order to make our cities inclusive and favorizing diversity. The question is, do we really use all those capacities? I don't have the answer. This is something that we can discuss afterwards. And then I will show something at the end, something last in my slides. I ask also the question, is a smart city affordable? Okay, and I start looking what is the top 10 or the best smart cities in the world in 2023. And you have here a list. This list changes every year, but you see the first is Zurich, Oslo, Canberra, and so on, Singapore. And when you look at the top 10 of those smart cities during several years, you will find always the same top runners. But then I found a very interesting information also. What are the most expensive cities worldwide today in 2023? And what a surprise. When you look here, many of the top 10 top runners smart cities are part of the most expensive one. And then you can ask the question, and once again, I don't have the answer, but the objective today is to ask the questions, not to answer the questions, is why the top runners for smart cities are not affordable. And if you understand why, then the next question is how you can make it affordable for all of us. Because if they are not affordable, they are not inclusive. Well, I think that's all I want to say. Sorry. How to make a city? Yes. I said I will not answer the question, but yes, I have the answer in my slides. There is a way to make a smart city sustainable and affordable. In fact, we shall use and optimize to an intelligent way the best existing technology to best fulfill present needs for artificial light here, but it's for citizens, sorry, and reduce undesirable side effects without compromise the ability of future generation to innovate. How you can translate that? In fact, today we have different technologies inside smart cities. We have to choose the best of those technologies. Then we have to take into account what are the human and social needs and calculate based on that the impacts and the economic reality. And then once you have all those information, you have to tune a little bit the technology in order to best serve the human needs and reduce the impacts and also increase the affordability of the technology. This is a first answer to my question, but I'm sure that we can go further, and I want to discuss that with you during the open discussion. Well, thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to talk about sustainability in a slightly different way. I'd like to thank the organizers and George for giving me this opportunity to talk. From a personal point of view, in some ways, I hate the word sustainable because I think it's overused and it shouldn't be something special. It should be an integral part of everything we do. I've learned about sustainability by spending a lot of time with the extreme poor, and I used to take students to a very poor part of Africa, and through that, they tell me that this is how they learnt about sustainability, and this is what played into our criteria for the lighting competition. So unless anybody's been on another planet, I think all of us will feel to a certain extent that we need to do something very quickly to change the way we live, or else the planet is not going to be able to support us anymore. And again, as everybody knows, I think we have to make fairly radical changes to our lifestyle, the way we make things, our use of human resources, and engineering, of course, that makes our environment has to be at the lead. And when we talk about light, then about 14% of the world's electricity uses light. If we're going to light 1 billion or so without light, without destroying the planet, then we have to do something very different. So we need energy, water, food, energy, some type of shelter. We need a stable environment, and we need to work together. But the world we occupy, in a way, is bipolar. One enjoys equity and stability, the kind of thing that George has been talking about, in a very advanced technological environment, and with what appears to us as an abundance of materials resources. The other seeks, food, safe shelter, is often subject to abject poverty and often struggles to escape oppression. But some round numbers, at the moment, I'm not quite sure whether these are 100% accurate, but I don't think they've changed much. 1 in 6 doesn't have access to safe drinking water. 1 in 8 doesn't have access to clean light. And now more than 1 in 100 is some kind of refugee. So I think the trouble at the moment is that the, quote, rich world with all the resources is trying to define sustainability. And I didn't understand sustainability until I went and lived in a very poor community. And all my students told me that when you operate in a space with very limited resources, it really teaches you, what sustainability is about. It makes you think very hard about what you do. And it also helps you to understand that it really is possible to do more with less, much more with less. I used to take students from New York City to the north of Ghana for a couple of months. And we basically did what we could to measure energy and water usage. And we also looked at basically taking a, quote, mud house into the 21st century. So, for energy, we thought we'd be looking at obviously wood, but charcoal, gas, and electricity. But when we did this, which was about 10 years ago, it turned out really that for most of the people there, energy meant wood. And of course, every time you cut down a tree, proximate to where you live, the next time you cut down a tree, you have to walk further. So as you cut down trees, you really understand what energy means. The more you use, the more trees you chop down. And then, of course, somebody has to bring all that energy into town. These women can walk up to, my keyboard stopped working. Sorry, my advance. Am I still there? Oh,
No,
okay.
please,
Okay,
please, no problem. Take your time.
Okay, sorry. For 3 summers, we got up at about 5:30 every morning, and we earned the trust of the women who carried the wood, and built up this map. And as you can see, some of these women walk 8 to 10 kilometers, carrying up to 40 kilograms of wood, which they would then sell for $1, right, and go back home. So when you know this, when you finished, for example, cooking in the evening, you put a little bit of water, even though the water itself is pressure, on the embers to keep them for the next day. And I call these female energy supply lines because it was the women who carried the wood. Okay, water, right? Again, I'm sure that everybody on this call knows that potable water is becoming scarcer and scarcer all over the world. Yeah, even in the US. And a lot of this is because we're pumping our aquifers dry, and also obviously because of changes in precipitation. But in the US, people are actually starting to find out that taps really do run dry. The other side of the coin, of course, is when we do have water, we use it in quantities which are quite unbelievable. If you look at a place where there's no infrastructure, then once again, you will find that, as always, women might carry a basin of water weighing 45 kilograms for many kilometers. The most I think I've ever encountered personally is 5 kilometers. And I don't know how many people on this call have been able to experience carrying a bowl of water, but trust me, carrying a bowl of water, which is probably about less than 2 centimeters below the top for that distance without spilling it, is a real skill. And apart from which, it's anything else. So once again, when you have to bring water home, then you start to appreciate just how valuable water is. And again, with climate change, the boreholes, which once were good throughout the dry season, now run dry before the end of the dry season. Sorry, yes, run dry before the end of the dry season, before the rains come again. And I've been in communities where people are thinking that they might have to move somewhere for 2 months because there's no water within like 10 kilometers. Food, same for food. In the industrialized world, I think we're completely disconnected from our source of food. You don't know where it comes from. You don't really know about, farms. You don't know about agriculture. You don't really know about the industrialization of agriculture. US, we pump out huge amounts of water from aquifers to grow corn. And of course, these aquifers are slowly running out of water. But once you go to a region with much less infrastructure, you start to understand where food comes from. And, when you look at how it's transported, how it's prepared and all the rest of it, you start to appreciate, the value of food. I think at the moment, what is it, about 50% of the world's food is wasted. I can't remember the exact number. And again, there are more lessons to learn from the extreme poor. These grain houses in Mali will keep millet good for up to 2 years, which I think is quite something. They don't need any electricity. They're made out of natural materials, and they fit in well with the infrastructure. Then final, I suppose, part of this is shelter. Shelter consumes a phenomenal amount of energy, both in its construction, right, and the way we run it. These houses happen to be on a lake in the DRC, and as you can see, they've copied what we do in the States. They've got a sealed concrete and glass box, and the only way to keep it comfortable when it's hot is to put air conditioning on. But we've forgotten, what our ancestors did. Everybody knows that, you're going to build somewhere which gives you a comfortable environment. You may not be able to get it perfect, but you're going to make it as comfortable as you can using what's at hand. So this is a mud house. If anybody's been into a mud house like this, the first thing you notice is that it's cool. Yeah. I mean, it's cool in the temperature sense. You also notice that it tends to be dry because the mud acts as a natural dehumidifier. And the beauty, of course, of mud is that you basically borrow from the earth on which you build your plot. You live in the house, right? And when you've finished with it, it goes back to whence it came for the next user. But we've lost all this, but not quite. I don't know how many people are familiar with Francis Carey's primary school in Gando, which was built, I think I meant to look this up. I think it was around 2000, I don't remember. Anyway, if you look at this, you can see that it's like I suppose a regular building, and it has this metal umbrella over the top. And I've actually been here, and there's no electricity. But if you go into these classrooms, first of all, you can see that the walls are built with the local mud. And on the roof, there's a layer of bricks which just sits on a support. And a long way above this, you have this basically umbrella which cools the building. So I was in this building, and I think it was about 38 degrees outside, but the classroom was, beautiful, lovely, warm environment, dry, and everything else. So obviously the metal had to be imported, but everything else, right, was made locally. But once you've taken into account the embodied energy, then the energy that you actually need to, quote, run the school, right, is nothing. So now we come to the sustainable development goals. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what's happening. I can't go, whoops. I can't control what's going on at the moment. Sustainable development goals. Well, perhaps it's a bit not quite the right thing to say here, but you know, sustainable development goals to me seem like some kind of set of rules that help rich countries decide, you know, what good they're doing in poor countries. But how you can separate the individual sustainable design development goals and give them each some kind of a score, I always find hard, because, you know, in a way, everything goes hand in hand. The slide which whizzed past was thinking about how we should think about sustainability, and it's imagining some kind of enclosed space in which we think about all the inflows and the outflows. I mean, everything, you know, the air coming in, water coming in, and then as we breathe, we exhale, we urinate, we defecate, things like that. So, you know, measuring all the inflows and outflows to this volume tells us exactly what our impact on the planet is, and is a measure of the interaction between human and natural systems. You might be asking, how do we measure this? I don't know how many people have heard of Victor Papanek, but it was in 1972, he published Design for the Real World. And in it, he had this function complex, which was an absolute measure of holistic design. It basically looks at design from six perspectives that, you know, that links use, manufacture, need, place, and culture. And I think this is something that we should start incorporating into the way we look at design. I have before I get onto the lighting competition, two very quick outcomes of this. So here you can see a mud building. We built this in Ghana in 2007, and people use flat roofs for mud, because the flat roof is both good for sleeping on, for drying grain, right, and for maintaining the temperature inside the house. So on the right, you'll see we built some test bamboo and mud structures in New York City, took these over to Ghana on the left, right, where we incorporated them. We also did something with the walls to avoid using big bits of wood. But the outcome of this is that this architecture student, Caitlin Martisevich, right, is one of the principal designers of this building on the right. This is in New York City, and she's a certified passive house designer. And this building that you're looking at, the sort of grayish exterior building, uses much less energy than a standard building. And whenever she's asked about how she thinks about design, she always says that her learnings from Africa drive her minimalist approach to design. And in another way, there's happens to be a female student, a civil engineer, who was one of the prime architects of the wood survey that I talked about earlier. So this is the wood market, where the women, who walked all this way with the wood, put their wood and they then sell it. Well, it was Madeline Foster, right, as she was then, who spent all her time right there. And oops, I missed a slide. Oh, okay. Well, oh no, sorry, you saw the slide earlier. She is now a professor at the University of New Orleans, and again, she teaches sustainability, and she says, I teach sustainability from what I learned about real sustainability in Africa. She's also looking at saving the Louisiana coastline from sea level rise. So almost done. So now we come to what I think George has originally asked me to talk about, was access to light. So one of the things, George started proposed a lighting competition about two and a half years ago now. Design an affordable, accessible lighting system operational in impoverished, marginalized, forgotten communities across the globe. And I saw this, right, as an incredible opportunity to fundamentally rethink artificial light in a very different resource-constrained ecosystem. And George has just, I think, alluded to this. The smart light is able to provide the most efficient illumination required by anyone anywhere without harm to animals or planet. So I guess as chair of this committee, I see this as a design opportunity for complete design revolution. I mean, if you look at the properties of an ideal light source, it obviously satisfies. You want it to satisfy everything in the sense that its footprint on the planet is essentially zero, that everything is recyclable, it's hyper efficient, extremely robust, and all the rest of it. Affordable, accessible, and of course, a lot of these things in some ways are mutually exclusive. But this led to the Let's Make Light competition. It is closed for 2023. We have the funding for 2024. Based on what we learned in 23, we're going to be making a few changes. So, keep your eyes out for the new call for proposals. Can't really say when it's going to be there yet, but we're going to try and get it out. It'll be February, March, as soon as possible. And then I suppose if we all pipe dream, wouldn't it be wonderful to have bioluminescent light driven by microbial batteries, so that once you built a system using biological carbon-based materials, and when you finished, right, it just went back to the soil. And finally, I think sometimes we should sort of remember that humankind started in Africa. And I personally think to survive, we need to return to Africa to learn about true sustainability and apply these findings to our lifestyles and engineering practices. Thank you.